Case study.
How a bakery turns treats into traffic.
Let's get into it.
Video Mavericks, the small business video marketing podcast. Presented by Workshop Media. With your hosts, Brett and Jeff, sharing a combined 40 years of video production and marketing experience. Take it away.
All right, so what do cupcakes, storytelling, and brand loyalty have in common?
I think we're going to get into it.
Let's get into it. All right, so this is like small business, mom and pop shop.
Yep.
Right. We're gonna talk about Rise and Shine Bakery. Jane Doe is the proprietor of this bakery. She grew up baking and learning how to cook from her grandmother, and now she's doing it with her granddaughter. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
So there's this long history of making treats, bringing ingredients together, knowing where the ingredients are coming from, right? And also a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit in her family. So
yeah.
Pretty cool. So what she's trying to do, especially with her granddaughter's help, is bring the business into sort of a modern day, connection and engagement with their customer base. They have a really good following in the brick and mortar sense, walking in the door. But how do we
keep that traffic? And
yeah,
how do we drive it into the future when as her customer base starts to slow down over time? How does she make sure that business is going to be there for her granddaughter, and boosting the people that are coming in the door on a daily basis? So reaching into the modern world of marketing using video, and how does she make the best of that and approach it in the most effective way to get going?
And like a lot of small businesses, mom and pop shops, we call them, deal with the kid coming in and wanting it to be about some TikTok trend, right?
Yeah.
How do we avoid jumping straight to that and doing something meaningful? She obviously, as I just described, has quite the story.
Yeah.
So making content that is real and authentic to them and their brand, and that's going to build that loyal following, build that desire for their customers and future customers to go, I align with them. This is my bakery. This is where I get my cappuccino. This is the company.
Yep.
So it's about building awareness for the ones that aren't there, and it's about honoring what if you do already shop there, and continuing to think like, I want a sweet treat today.
And frankly, making people want to drive from farther away because they have connected on a different
emotionally,
on a different level. Aside from having good food, you can get good food in a lot of places, and but how do we connect with the brand itself? So. And that's important because she's trying to differentiate, as any small business would. There's competition. There's competition at the supermarket for her. There's competition at other bakeries for her. There's very likely some competition even online for her now, where you can have deliveries to your house.
Yep.
So how does she break through that and have her unique value presented to her potential customer? And that's going to be through being very authentic in that brand story and selling people on what they are at their core.
Yep.
Through everything that they're doing. So, video is a really great way to connect with people because you can tell a story that might otherwise not be able to be told. You can give some backstory. You can show some of those old pictures. You can, you can get at the feeling of the business through the music and the graphics and, whatever, just hearing her speak, which is really cool because those folks, they need to be convinced to come into the store to begin with. They might get some of that when they get there, but how do we reach more than one person at a time? And that's a pretty powerful way to do that.
And Jane knows her story. She's lived it, and she's passing it down to the next generation. So sometimes being too close to it can be a problem though, right?
Yeah.
How do I tell this story? And you kind of touched on a little bit is taking that emotional side, figuring out, knowing that what you have, your story is your strategy, knowing that what I have just between my ears is actually a selling point, is actually what I need to use.
Yeah.
The fact that she uses, organic ingredients and she locally sources her stuff where she can, that's cherry on top, if I may.
Yeah. Apropos.
You may.
So
anyways, let's reach deeper into this cookie jar.
One more. You got one more.
I got nothing.
So let's try to apply it to what are some things that she can actually do. What type of content can she actually make to be most effective, and how might she approach that? I think something that we are really adamant about is that the brand story being paramount.
The foundation.
Tell that story through, that sort of about us brand video type of content.
Share what we've talked about up to this point in a video.
Tell the people the story, the origin story of the business, the motivation of the business, the sort of the value system.
What's the purpose of that video? And as we think about the customer, her target audience is for that video. What would she hope?
Yeah, she wants the customer to know who she is and then align with her on a fundamental level.
Yep. So there's an awareness. And there's just having people know that she exists and what she stands for. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's going to help with recall, right? When they go, I really want something. Do I want to go and get a donut that's packed full of sugar and all this other stuff? Or do I want to go over there and get a homemade Pop-Tart?
Yeah.
That's made with,
I think that actually raises the topic, and we talk about this all the time. She very fundamentally needs to understand who her audience is in this particular case. And so having those audience personas, the segmentation sorted out so that she knows that talking about the fact that she has organic treats is important because the person she's speaking to values that. So then she needs to start to think about what other things does that person value. If they value organic treats, maybe they value saving time. So these things they're not only organic, but they're easy. They're already made for you.
Yep.
Maybe she also knows that her customer is busy with kids. And so the products
which would also speak to they would value family values.
Yeah.
Like they value family.
Right. And so knowing that, it means that those details that she's choosing to bring forward in her brand story are brought forward because they align with those things.
Yep.
If appealing to people with a family value system is not critical to your story, then that wouldn't be important for her to include it. But it's so fundamental to who she is, and it's so fundamental to the customers that she sees coming in the door. She needs to tell them about that. Maybe the logistics of how she processes the flour in the back of the shop is not important.
Right. And that comes later. So that's great. That comes later once you've built that foundation, right? So her next piece of content in video would be maybe a process video or an explainer. And this is something that she would make so people would know immediately how easy it is. You stop in, it's ready right there. Or they're made fresh daily every morning. Get here at this time between these hours, you're going to get the best, best treats.
How do I actually engage with the business? How do I get what you have?
The purpose of this video at this stage is exactly that, is you know me, you like me, right? I'm still working on the trust part. Here's how easy it is to work with us, or here's how easy it is to, here's what it's like to enjoy our treats. A cappuccino and a almond croissant are the best combo for whatever it is, for her.
It could be when are you open and what do you sell and how do I come
just
in?
Literally a humanized explainer, right?
Yeah, we have these different payment options, and you see that in video. You don't need to necessarily tell someone, hey, you can come in here and do contactless payment.
Yeah. Goodbye.
But you can
information receipt.
You can show those details so that it's conveyed that people know how to get involved.
Yeah. Next one, testimonial.
Yeah.
We always get excited about this one.
Let's hear from the customer that you're trying to reach. Let's hear from someone that is them.
Yeah.
Let's hear the busy mom of 3 kids that really is trying to source good, clean treats. Let's hear them tell us that they're in love with Rise and Shine Bakery.
Let's see the joy on their face. Let's see the community. Let's see that happen with their testimony. This is a validation of Jane's claims.
Yep.
We are this. This is our story. This is how you do it. And then you hear Sarah and her kids go,
the treats are good. I love coming in here, and they take the time to chat with the kids, and they always have a coloring page for them.
Yep.
And there's plenty of space in here for them to sit down, and they're never bothered. My kids are kind of loud. They don't mind.
Yep. What does that do? We've got awareness, we've got consideration, and we have the possibility of conversion with just 3 pieces of content for Jane. Treats into traffic.
Yep.
Then there's some bonuses here, like the behind-the-scenes video that would come after this or could kind of play alongside a testimonial. This is, like you had mentioned, show the process of how they make the cookies in the back, or, get in there and let's pull down a little bit of the veil and go like, here's Jane in the back working with her staff. Here's, they're covered in flour and,
It's humanizing their brand. It's making them even easier to connect with.
Even more approachable.
Yeah.
It's not this big business. Even if it is a small business, a mom and pop shop, you can still feel like it's a business, not a brand. It's not a place that I can, I feel like if I see behind the counter and I see them in the back and, you see that it's 5:30 in the morning and they're rolling out dough or whatever, that's really cool. And it's extremely impactful for a customer after you've seen the story of Jane and her family, after you've heard from a
seems like right
customer.
around this time is when people would want to start wearing your logo on a T-shirt.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Jane, get your merch shop squared away.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, rise and shine.
When people can connect that fundamentally with a business, it's really interesting that you actually get to a point where someone can come into a bakery to buy treats, but then they're willing to buy your brand and wear it for you.
That is literally
that's testimony
that's
moving,
the
right?
seal of approval.
Which is,
I'm a lifer now. I'm a loyal fan of your business. I'm choosing to buy the T-shirt.
How many times have you gone into a grocery store and been like, I'm dying to have that logo on me?
I want a grocery store T-shirt.
You know what I mean?
Seems like it'd be pretty cool.
But you could see it if it were positioned this way, where we're connecting on a fundamental level about the community of the place and the founder of the place, and you start to care about it, and then you want to signal to other people that I have a value system that is similar to that. I care about it. So I just think that's kind of fun thinking about. I mean, I have shirts from bakeries. And it's
because it's cool and you feel good when you go work there. You pull your laptop up. They got great espresso.
Yeah.
You get a croissant or you get whatever while you're there. The people are friendly. It's just a vibe and you feel good. That is an emotional connection. You're not saying logically this is the right move for me. It's actually 12 more minutes out of my way, but that's my coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's my bakery.
Yep.
That speaks directly to heart over mind. It's making mind get in line.
Yep.
And that's really, really cool. So the behind-the-scenes content is especially useful for a company like Jane's Rise and Shine Bakery.
That next step.
Yeah, and so the last one now, you notice we have it in 4 pieces of video content. There's no sales. We haven't talked about sales whatsoever.
No, we're just letting people start to learn and just
be about what we're about.
Just understand.
Because we're about what you're about.
Yeah.
But now, the 5th, and not final, but 5th, amazing piece of video content is a VSL or video sales letter or a direct offer.
Yeah.
This is like
now we're selling.
Yeah. And we're still going to talk about your pain points. You are a busy mom who loves, healthy foods, but we can't feed our kids broccoli all the time. We want to figure out how we can get them some sweet treats without, causing other problems.
Right.
Right. So I know my customer, I know what they're after. Family's important. Let's provide the solution. I'm Jane. This is our story. You're condensing everything you've done to this point, but then you're going, hey, guess what? The solution is this.
Yeah. And
our hours are this, and we're ready to serve you.
Yeah. So in this case, it could be that video sales letter. It could also be more pointed to a particular offer or a particular thing that's happening. The idea is marrying story, motivation pain point with solution and an opportunity to take action in a direct way. And it's connecting those two things. So
and make it urgent.
Yeah. So
because I need your money.
That's
and you
right.
need to come get this, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Like,
and that's the idea. It's you know who we are now. And here's a specific way that you can take action as a result of that.
Yeah. Now imagine if you just immediately start, you're Jane and your granddaughter's got the phone and she's behind the counter and she's dancing, she's doing all this, these trendy kind of things. And then there's another piece of content that comes right after that says, hey, we're selling donuts for this much money. Come get them now. You might do okay on social, but imagine what you could do if you follow this framework and now get into, let me sell you on our Memorial Day, bakery drop where you're gonna put together an assortment of goods and you're gonna deliver them across town. We're only doing this for 50 companies or 50 people. You got to buy now. Here's the price. You do it in this amount of time before Thursday end of day, and you'll get the discount. You're now able to start selling. You're able to actually be very direct with what you offer, and to your point, make a specific offering. Yep. Buy one homemade Pop-Tart, get one free. Yeah. Only until they're gone, until supplies last. Get them now because they're already, they're already
and at this point in that process, you can start to think about, I have a promo for this one, and then I can spin that same concept up again here, and I can spin it up here, all while knowing that you have that really strong bedrock of brand story has been established. For people that want to engage with the brand, they can go and explore that. You have an explainer established. They can go and understand how to engage outside of this specific situation. You have a testimonial that's already sitting there taking care of business. You have BTS content, whether it's one piece of content or a few, that's connecting people to the people that work there. So there's this ecosystem of you've set the groundwork. You've laid the groundwork for everything that you're offering to people and why you're offering it. And now at the very pointy end of that, we're making a sale. And that sale, to your point, is going to be a lot harder going from someone who's never heard of you
and doesn't align, doesn't know how to align with you.
Yeah, you would need to be appealing to someone on a totally different level, and it'd be a lot tougher.
And so now it's okay to switch over to maybe some trendy stuff. If you
have a bedrock now.
I'm pretty hard on the social media trends. I'm very, I have a position.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do it, but now you can. Now it's like, all right, now
if it aligns with the brand,
we can do some stuff now. Let's create your own thing and see if it picks up. Do the bakery flour challenge and get. Where you just throw flour at somebody. I don't know. What that used to be. What is that?
Is this the thing? I think it's called antiquing.
Yeah. All right, we'll bring that back around. Yeah, that's right. Early 2000s. Okay, so here's something to think about. All the stuff we talked about, brand video, explainer / process, walkthrough, testimonial, behind the scenes content to humanize you a little bit, make you a little bit more approachable, and a direct offer video. What if you do that same thing over again? Let's assume you start with the foundation still. Your brand story is still what it is. Let's replace that one with a direct message from the baker, from the owner of the business, from Jane Doe herself. It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit sweeter. Gets right to the point. Process video. What goes into making our famous...
Say cinnamon buns.
Cinnamon buns. What goes into that? Let's see. And then you got testimonial speaking specifically to the famous homemade cinnamon buns.
Now you have a
testimonial that's directly tied to that last video. And then before that, we heard from Jane about her cinnamon buns, short and sweet, right? Now you've got a behind the scenes, number 4, behind the scenes video. Let's go meet the supplier, the local supplier of the ingredients.
Right.
Let's humanize even further. Let's make it even more approachable. Oh man, I know Jerry. I know, that's just so cool. Local business, right? And then direct offer. Buy half a dozen cinnamon buns, get a free Rise to Shine Bakery t-shirt. While supplies last. Right? Do it all over again. Start over, and we're not just dancing. We're not just doing social content because that's what I was told I had to do, or I just really want to be on social media and get those vanity metrics up. Think strategically about this stuff, and Jane's bakery is going to skyrocket even further than what she was doing.
Also make it a lot more clear when trying to figure out how you're going to market the business in this case, to know that you have a framework that's sorted out. That is solved for.
Yep.
And now you're plugging in the thing that you actually want to offer to people.
Yep.
So rather than starting from zero every single time, you understand, here's how we do this.
This is exciting. I'm like pretty excited about the concept here, you know.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
we're talking a lot about the theory of. What about practice? Where does this stuff go? How's she using any of this content?
Yeah. So, and that's part of understanding the audience. In this particular case, if we think about the 4 really big social platforms, I mean, we would always say, ultimately, if you have a website, put it there. If people find your website, then the stuff lives there.
But before that, where you
but before there, it's got to host somewhere, right?
Yeah.
YouTube's a great place for it because of the Google integration. So if people are searching in her area, it's going to pop up.
Second largest search engine.
Yep. She would also probably do well on Instagram and Facebook.
Yep.
As platforms based
on who her customers are, right?
Because of who's there. So,
but she has started supplying businesses. She'll do drops to businesses. And
so if it's a very tailored message in that case, she might find something useful on LinkedIn. But it would definitely need to be a tailored message to businesses to appeal to them. Maybe that drop in mom of 3, organic treats is not the message for the business. Maybe it's we can do catered breakfasts at scale.
Yes, there you go. Yep.
So it's understanding who's going to be where and speaking to them directly.
And any of that content can be upcycled into ads on these platforms. And
and if she wants to, she could have a screen in her bakery that's just showing some of that the imagery,
visual appealing stuff. Right.
When people are standing there waiting in line, they've got something to look at that reinforces storyline, that reinforces message.
They're always waiting in line. Even put these. Don't do anything different with them. Put them all up there and caption them so people can. You don't change your music that's playing over your
just turn off
shop
the sound.
speaker. Yeah, you just play the captions while people are waiting. They get to see a little glimpse into it. So. Go get them, Jane. It's awesome. Okay, so you could see small town, local bakery using story-driven video has endless possibilities to driving traffic to the business, converting audience to customers, really making an impact in the business, getting the brand out there, letting people connect with it in a meaningful way. Imagine what your business could do. How can you make your business feel more local, more approachable, more human, and worth remembering? How do you use storytelling in video to be number one in your industry? Think about it.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We release episodes each week packed full of insights on how to grow and scale your business with strategic video marketing.
That's right. And if you're ready to take the next step with your business, join us in our brand storytelling workshop. In just 90 minutes, we'll work with you and your team to uncover your brand message, align everyone around a clear narrative, and map out the exact videos that will move your business forward. This is a custom, strategic session built around your unique goals. Learn more and book your session at brandstoryworkshop.com.